welcome back to Flogger Figures, where today I'm going to be unboxing some vintage Galoob biker mice from Mars figures.
Ma'am, we're mice.
Mice?
You were expecting turtles, maybe?
I mentioned recently in my video where I was unboxing some Bucky O'Hare figures that they came out at a time where it looked like a lot of people were trying to replicate the success of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And this is just another example of that. These are the biker mice from Mars. So if anyone's not familiar with this product, I'll kind of give you a bit of an insight of what the premise is here. So the biker mice from Mars, there were three of them. There was Throttle, who is this guy I've got here. There was also Vinny and Modo, I think the other one was called, or Modo, M-O-D-O, Modo I think his name is. Yeah, so they're mice who drive motorbikes. Now the backstory is that they live on Mars, and unbelievably, unbeknown to the human race, there is a colony of humanoid mice that live on Mars, and they're really into like motorsport. You know, the whole society is very, very similar to like human society, and they're really, really into like motorsport and motorcycles and performance cars and that kind of stuff. That's a big thing apparently on Mars with these biker mice. So I mean, as crazy as that sounds. So what happens is there's a race of aliens that I'd be having a guess if I tried to remember what Plunkatarians. A race of like kind of mutant aliens, like the type of bad guys that you know they're bad guys because they're all ugly. Those type of guys. And they have basically wiped out Mars. I think they've just wiped out the entire civilization of the biker mice from Mars, where they come from. They're kind of obviously their home planet's Mars, but like their whole society is kind of been wiped out by this alien race. And these three guys, Throttle, Modo, and Vinny, they sort of escape. I don't know how exactly they escape, but they escape and they crash land on Earth, and they bump into this chick over here. This is Charli. So yeah, that's the backstory. They end up on Earth, and the bad guys that have wiped out their home planet are also on Earth. I'm not entirely sure how. I don't know if they follow them to Earth or if they just happen to be both on Earth. I don't know, but that's the backstory. They come from Mars. There's a race of aliens who are bad guys who have wiped them out, who are now going to try and do the same to Earth. And the biker mice have come to Earth. They've teamed up with Charli over here, and they're going to try and beat the bad guys. They're going to try and win the day. That's the basic premise. So, I mean, simple enough. And I suppose it's as good a premise as anything to build an action figure line around. But you know, let's be honest, this is an attempt to recreate Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So who I've got today is, I've got one of the three biker mice. I've got Throttle, and I've also got Charli. Charli is, I mean, let's be honest, if this is an attempt to recreate Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, this is April O'Neil. This is who they're trying to get to put in the place of April O'Neil. So Charli's a mechanic that works in a garage that the biker mice sort of hang out in. And she's meant to be like really talented mechanic and can ride bikes and that kind of stuff. So she's the kind of human ally of the biker mice. And I mean, again, she's April O'Neil. That's who she is in this line. So I was looking into these guys. These have been on my mind for a while because somebody actually said it recently. Like one of my mates, when we were out drinking or something, probably pre-lockdown even, it was like, you look like a biker mice. See, it's just in conversation when you're kind of having a laugh with me. Somebody said you look like one of the biker mice to somebody, not to me. Just it was in conversation. It was said over the table, and that made me think, yeah, the biker mice. I remember them, and that made me think there must be toys of the biker mice. Well, I know there was toys because I remember at primary school people having these toys. I don't think I did, but I remember people having them. Yeah, and they were reasonably cool toys. So I looked into it. I tried to get some. The three biker mice characters. So again, you've got Throttle, you've got Vinny, and you've got Modo. They're actually quite hard to get. I mean, you can find them out there. They're out there online, but they're expensive. You know, they're not cheap figures. And you know, I was just looking for a couple of examples online to unbox, have them as loose figures, and I thought, you know, I'll see what I can get. So the originals, because this Charli's from the original series. She's from series 1. she was like the original release. So, but the versions of the biker mice that go in this one, you can kind of see them on the back. I'll hold it up properly. You kind of see there's Modo there, there's Vinny up the top, and there's Throttle over there. Well, there's Throttle, that's Throttle on his bike. So yeah, so they all came in, but I think the bikes were sold separately. The bikes were like the big purchase, but you got the figures in individual packets, and they all had a bike helmet, which is something I remember, which was pretty cool. They were like a really cool tinted visor bike helmet, which would fit over their ears, and their little antenna things would pop out the top. But those were pretty cool, actually, the helmets. But as I say, the initial release of these figures, they're pretty tough to get. They're pretty hard to get the originals. Other than Charli, I mean, the side characters in the line are all sort of reasonable. Charli and all the bad guys, but the three biker mice are tough to get. So this is Throttle I've got here, but this is like one of the variants. So this is, I mean, if you follow the Turtles at all, you'll know that they release different versions almost annually, probably more regularly than that, of the four Turtles. And it's kind of the same with the biker mice. So this is the Sports Bros. So the Sports Bros series, I mean, it's the same basic figure essentially, but there's the three Sports Bros. That's the biker mice there. So I've got Throttle, who's got his baseball themed, and there's Slam Dunk Vinny, so he's basketball themed, and then Touchdown Modo, he's American football themed. I saw them all. They were all online. You could get any of the Sports Bros ones, but I quite liked Throttle because he came with baseball bats, and I just had an idea that I would kind of pose him on the shelf holding a baseball bat in either hand. But then when he arrived, I didn't realise when I saw him online, but when he arrived, I realised he's got a gun that shoots these baseball bats. And I think that's fantastic. I think, I can't wait to get him open and have a look at that. So anyway, so we've got Charli, got Throttle. I'm going to crack them open, get them off the card. So we're going to start with Charli. The Biker Mice's version of April O'Neil. It's coming off quite easy actually. So here she is. Here's Charli. Charli comes with a weapon of some description. Not entirely sure what her weapon is. I'm hoping it's just that she's really stiff. Yeah, I thought her leg was like stuck in that position that she was in the bubble in, but no, she's just kind of stiff. So as a figure, that's quite interesting because her arms, she's got like knees are articulated, hips are articulated. Her arms move, but they've got like ball sockets, which is, I didn't realise. I thought they just kind of swung back and forward, but they move out and in and all the way around. That's pretty decent actually. That's a good result for an action figure from this time. Like it's not, it usually just is the kind of back and forward joint movements, but no, that's pretty decent. And then she's got a little oily rag kind of thing hanging out in her back pocket. As I said, she's a mechanic. Like she works in the garage that, I think she owns a garage actually that the biker mice hang out in. And yeah, she's like a kind of sidekick, I suppose. But yeah, it's a reasonable figure. Pretty happy with that. She stands pretty well. Anyone that watches the channel regularly know that as long as an action figure stands, it pretty much passes my quality test. But this is her accessory. This is her weapon. I don't know what you might do with this. Looks like it turns or something. I don't know. Oh, that's just a kind of effect, I suppose. You turn that round and it makes it look like it's something's kind of generating inside it. I don't know. I'm going to just check the packet and see what that's meant to be. Light up laser welder. So it's like a gun based on a welding torch essentially. But I'll see if I can get it in her hand. Let's see if that clicks in there. Oh, that is actually spot on. It's got a little clip that clips onto the top of her arm, and the way that her arm is kind of shaped, it fits it almost perfectly. That's really decent actually. See if I can get her to stand up with it though. Is it going to weight her down? No, there you go. She's able to stand with it on. Right. So push her back a little bit. Yeah, so there's Charli with her welder's gun. Her alien looking bizarre welder's gun. Yeah, so I think the mechanism inside, you turn the wee thing at the back and it flashes, it rotates from yellow to red, and I think it's meant to look like there's kind of fire building up inside her welding gun. But yeah, that's a pretty decent figure actually. I mean, if you remember the April O'Neil from the Playmates line, that, let's be honest, that was a rubbish figure. I mean, it was flimsy, it was weak, it felt like you could break it just having it in your hand. Compared to the Turtles, who were chunky, obviously they're meant to be like mutants and all the other characters. But April, that was my lasting memories of April from the Playmates line, was that she was really flimsy and didn't feel very sturdy at all. So, but this one, Charli doesn't feel like that at all. Charli feels pretty robust, actually. You know, I mean, as I said, she was really stiff when she came out of the packet, but it feels like she's got a bit to her, Charli. And that's a pretty cool toy, actually. I'm sure I've got 2 daughters, actually. I'm sure. Oh, she's going to fall over. I think that gun's probably just a bit too big for her to stand freely for any length of time. Yeah, I've got 2 daughters, and whenever they kind of look at my action figure collection, they always want to know who the girls are. You know, who's that, and I'm sure Charli will attract some attention from my 2 daughters. But anyway, if I can get her to stand for a second. Right, hopefully she stays there, and we'll have a look at Throttle. No such luck. I'm going to take the gun off her. Take her gun off her, and hopefully she'll stand there. Come on, Charli, you were doing it a minute ago. There we go. Right, let's leave her with her weapon there. So here's Throttle. Yeah, so as I say, I'm going to move her back a little bit so she just gets in the full shot. As I said about Throttle, I was looking for variants. This is a Sports Bros variant. There were other variants. The guys that the original line of Biker Mice was just too expensive to justify buying one to open up. So there were other versions of him out there. I forget off the top of my head what they were, but there were different versions with different sort of gimmicks, different themes. But I went for the Sports Bros because I just thought that would look really cool with him standing on the shelf, holding a baseball bat in either hand, kind of thing. But I didn't realise that this was a gun that shot them. So I'm going to crack this open and see what we can do with it. Here we go. Oh, his gun is just falling out. Here is Throttle. Everything else is taped in, I think. Yeah, the bats and things are taped in. So I'm going to take Throttle out first. Have a look at him. Oh, cool. He's actually got... I didn't realise this before, but they've actually got a tail. The tail was fed through the packet there. That's why I noticed that. I didn't realise that about the Biker Mice. They've got tails. Yeah, so as far as the figure goes, he's actually got more... He bends at the elbows as well. I don't think Charli bends at the elbows. He bends at the elbows, so he's got more articulation than Charli. Again, though, he's got the same shoulder sockets. They're like ball sockets, so they go out and up and down. It's really, really stiff. So Charli came out in 1992, along with the whole Series 1, the original line, in 1992. But Throttle, the variant of Throttle, the Sports Bros Throttle, he came out in the year later, 1993. So they've obviously been in a warehouse somewhere for like 27 years now. But that's probably why they're a bit stiff. But they're pretty sturdy. They feel sturdy. They feel like decent figures. Oh, actually, his legs have got the same ball socket. So his legs can go out and back and forward as well. I don't think Charli has that. Charli's just more... Obviously, because this came out in the second series, they would have updated the molds, I suppose, and made them slightly better. But yeah, that's cool. That is a really cool figure. He's got his name in the back of his baseball jumper. He's got a little tattoo in his arm. I'm guessing that's like the Biker Mice logo or something like that. But yeah, I really like this figure. He's got a squidgy head, which, as a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles enthusiast, I wonder if Charli is. No, Charli's head's hard. The soft heads from the Playmates Turtles line are the rare ones. You know, they were like the original ones that came out. So if it comes with a soft head in the Turtles line, you've got money on your hands. But I'm guessing that's not the case with these. His head does kind of squash into me, just kind of fill with air. But and you can tell, I don't know if you can, it's a different sort of shade. It's slightly darker than his body. But yeah, other than that, I like it. I think he looks pretty decent. And from what I can remember of the cartoon, I think that's a fair representation of the cartoon. So he's got these accessories. He's got his baseball bat, he's got his baseball, I think it's like a catcher's mitt he's got. And he's got his little hat as well. So let's have a look, see what we can do with these. Oh, they're well taped in there. It's like 3 or 4 different bits of tape. Right, so this is why I bought him. This is why I was attracted to this figure, because I thought I would pose him with the bats in his hand. This might be a problem though. Yeah, that is going to be a problem. That's disappointing. That's really disappointing. So, I mean, he can hold them. He can hold the bats, but his hands are too wide. His hands are like too wide to hold them at the bottom. So he's having to hold them halfway up. That's disappointing, because I really did want to have him with a bat in each hand, looking really mean. But fair enough, I suppose. If that's not what the intention is for them, then you can't complain. But we'll take them out there. I'll see if his catcher's mitt fits. Surely I will. Oh, it goes on that hand. Yeah, I looked at it and thought surely that'll go in either hand, but it's actually moulded to fit his thumb as well. So that's pretty decent actually. I like that he's got a catcher's mitt. I wonder if I can get his arm to pose so he's actually catching. Nah, not really. You can hold it up in the air. There we go. Yeah, so that actually looks pretty decent. I wouldn't mind just having him on the shelf like that with his baseball glove on. And then he comes with this little hat. Now, as I mentioned about their bike helmets, the bike helmets had holes in the top for their antennas to go through. So see, there we go. That is actually cool. So his hat goes on with his antennas sticking at the top. I wonder if it can go on backwards. Might look better if it's on backwards. Yeah, that's better, I think. In fact, that might even be how it's meant to go. That's pretty cool. I'm not a huge baseball fan, but I'm pretty certain that that's a catcher's mitt, as in like the guy who is behind the batter, the batsman, if you like. And I think the normal image for that would be that he would have his hat back to front with his protective stuff on. So that's probably a good image for him with the hat back to front and the catcher's mitt. But I'm just trying to put this gun together. So there's how it works. I've got the baseball bats in the gun, but I'm looking at it and thinking, I don't see how that fires. Does it fire? It doesn't seem to be anything obvious to make it, because they're just really sitting in a tube. There's no spring action or anything, and there's no button, there's no lever, there's no mechanism. It looks like that bit might turn round. Yeah, it spins round, I suppose, like you're reloading the chamber essentially, but I don't think it fires. I don't think it fires at all. Let's see if we can hold it. Kind of. I suppose if we take his mitt off, you might be able to hold it in 2 hands. Hold it there with that hand, and then if this hand comes down, yeah, I suppose that might be how he's meant to hold it. But that's rubbish, to be honest. It doesn't fire. It doesn't launch the baseball bats. When I realised that you were meant to load the baseball bats into the gun, I just thought that would be awesome. I thought, imagine firing the baseball bats like across the table at a bad guy or something, but it doesn't look like it actually fires. So that's disappointing. I think that'll probably just end up in the accessory box, tucked away somewhere, and he'll be on the shelf with his back to front hat and his baseball glove in his hand. I'll see if I can fit a bat in his other hand just to pose him. But yeah, I think he's a cool figure. I quite like him, and I like that I've got Charli as well. I kind of like having main characters. I've kind of mentioned this in Turtles videos before. The side characters for these kind of lines don't really do much for me. I like having main characters, and as I've explained for anyone that doesn't know Biker Mice, Charli's the April O'Neil of Biker Mice, so she is very much a main character. But yeah, so I'm glad to have these guys, but yeah, I think that'll be it. I don't think I'll chase any more of these down. But they're cool figures. I'm building a little sort of section shelf, like a box shelf, if you like, that I'm putting all. It's my miscellaneous shelf, I suppose, that I'm putting all my sort of my 1 or 2 figures from obscure lines in, and these guys are going to go up there alongside like the Mario Brothers, Bucky O'Hare, Dick Tracy, these guys. So yeah, looking forward to getting them up on the shelf. But yeah, so that's it for this video. If you like that, please drop a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, let me know your thoughts. Share the video if you want through social media. Stay safe. We'll speak soon.